Hello there. This is Shalon with Bible Journaling Ministries creative team. And today I want to show you how to use watercolor pencils. And I will be using the Arteza triangular grip watercolor pencils. And I have been very intimidated by colored pencils. And so if you have been there too and have never tried them, I want to show you some ways that I have discovered are the easiest ways to use them. And I will be using a beautiful black and white kit that we can add our own colors to. So if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so I am going to be using the Psalm 104 verses 10 through 12 black and white kit, and it's called The Birds Sing, and it's a 2-page kit, and it has these beautiful, they almost look hand-drawn, but beautiful black and white images, the flowers and the vase. You have your margin element with the verses here, flowers, and as you can see, I already done my tab. I was practicing because watercolor pencils have always just intimidated me. And so I thought, well, I'll just give it a try. So I tried it on the tab that I will be using. I'll pull that up so you can see how I did that. Now, I did print these on sticker paper and they're pre-cut. So even though I went outside of the lines, it's okay because once I pull that up, then it'll be nice and crisp. But you've got your washi tape down here that you could color in, and then the washi with the scripture reference. This is all on the first page. Then on the second page, you have your larger elements, which I just think are beautiful. The larger flowers, the larger bird on a branch, and then a larger vase with your flowers. So what I will be using to color this kit with you and show you how to use these watercolor pencils, I am using the Arteza triangular grip. It was a 48-piece watercolor pencil set, and I found these on Amazon on sale, I think, maybe even Black Friday, but I've never used them. They're still sharpened from the manufacturer because they've just intimidated me. And so I have just a small cup with just a little bit of water. I do have a watercolor brush pen. I didn't fill this up because I was just dipping my tip into the water. And you can do that. I used just a plastic piece and I just colored some pigment onto this and then dipped my brush in there to pick up that pigment. And that's how I started this. And that is a way that you can use watercolor pencils, but I found a different way. And it just really, the colors are so vibrant, and it worked very, very well. So that is what I'm going to do. Now, I will say that I have let my ink on my paper dry for about, I'd say it's probably been sitting on my desk for about 4 hours because, of course, this is not watercolor paper. It is just regular sticker paper. And what I noticed when I tried this was that my ink was smearing just a little bit. So I went ahead and just left it alone. And I had colored around the scripture reference here on my tab because I didn't want to smear it with the water. So I just chose a few different colors. I am going to use the second page and color the bigger flowers and use those in my She Reads Truth Bible here. So what has worked the best to give me vibrant color with the watercolor pencils is simply dipping my watercolor pencil into my water. It just really amazed me that worked. So I just dip it in there and don't put it in there all the way, and get it too wet. But I'm going to start here in the middle and show you how, and it just glides on like butter. It just glides right on. And it is just beautiful. So I'm just going to now, if you find that is a little bit, that you don't like that method, that is okay to dip, if you don't like to dip your, but it just, okay, so I'm amazed and I'm sold on watercolor pencils because they just glide and the color is beautiful. It's almost like working with a watercolor marker. So these verses, Psalm 104, 10 through 12, say, He sends springs into the valleys. They run among the mountains. They give drink to every animal of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst. The birds of the sky nest by them. They sing among the branches. And I so appreciate these black and white images and just the ones that you can do yourself, because it really gives you a great time to be with the Lord and use your creativity to celebrate His creativity in you. So I just I just really appreciate and love these black and white kits that Tracy creates for us. Now the other thing about watercolor pencils is, of course, your medium, or my sticker paper, that's what I'm using, is wet. But you can let that dry and then build your color. And as you can see, I'm just doing just a few of these petals in this lighter lilac. Actually, it's called lavender, in this Arteza set. But watercolor is a safe alternative to other kinds of paints for me, because you can build your color, and you start with your lighter and then you can build with the darker on top of it. And so that is why I'm starting with this lavender, and then I will come over with a darker to add some dimension and depth with my watercolor pencils. But you're not going to harm your pencil by dipping it in the water. But look how vibrant and beautiful those colors are. So watercolor paint sometimes intimidates me as well. It's not one of my best or favorite mediums to use, only because I'm not very confident in my skills. But now I love using these watercolor pencils. And like I said, the beautiful thing about watercolor, whichever way you like to watercolor, is that you can build. So you start with your lighter colors and you build to increase the depth of your pigment, your color, and you can add so much using watercolor. And it's just, oh my goodness, I am just loving it. So I am just, like I said, dipping my pencil in my little water cup here. Nothing fancy, nothing that is difficult at all. Like I said, I've already got these cut. So if I get out of the lines just a little bit, that's okay, because it's already cut and it will be just as crisp and clean as can be once I lift it off of the backing here. So I'm just going to continue to add my color here. And I will speed up the video once I finish all of these petals that I'm going to color in this lavender. But I want to show you too, so I'm continuing to dip my pencil. Now I want to show you the difference in dipping your pencil and coloring in as opposed to coloring. You can color with these and then take your watercolor brush and spread the color out. So I will show you how that, and there's a difference in the pigment when you do it that way. So I'm going to switch to this darker purple, amethyst purple. And I'm going to color just like I would with colored pencils and put my color down. And as you can see, I'm using a little bit of pressure to make it darker. Now I'm going to take my water brush pen and just dip in the water and get the tip of it a little bit wet, and then take and activate that color and spread it out where I want it. I don't know. Let me pull this up so you can see. So you can probably tell where I colored is darker, and then I just took my watercolor brush pen and just smoothed out that color. So it gives a little bit of dimension. Like purples almost look exactly the same. So it could be, I'm sure they'll be different once they dry. Let's try that in a bigger area. So I'm going to color. I am applying quite a bit of pressure to get that color onto my page here. Dip my watercolor brush pen and activate that, and then just work it around with my brush. So you could use your watercolor pens this way as well, or pencils this way as well. You're able to kind of add some texture depending on how much water you add. But remember that if you're using just regular sticker paper and your ink from your printing is not completely cured, if you will, you may end up with just a little bit of smearing. I didn't have too much, just a little. But you can also spread that out and Let's look at that larger area. So if you can see the larger area here, there's really not too much difference in those colors. But when you look at the pencils, this one is, of course, a lavender, and this one is a darker purple. And they almost look exactly the same here. So let's try with the amethyst, the method of just dipping in and see what difference. I'm going to put it right next to this one so that we can see the difference between a watercolor brush pen after I've colored it in and then just dipping my pencil. Oh my goodness, look at the difference in the color. Oh my goodness, yes. So my preference would be dipping my pencil into the water and using it that way. And again, it just glides like butter. You have more control than you do with the brush, but there's such a difference. Look at the difference in the color here that I colored it dry and then used my watercolor brush pen to spread it out. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to stick with this technique. Just one reason why I did the tab on the first page, because I wanted to just play with it for a little bit before to see what technique I recommended to you all. But look how rich that color is when you just dip your pencil in the water and put it on. Oh my goodness. Now this would be handy for even outlining or coming back in and using it to shadow some things if you would like. Just beautiful. So I don't know if you are like me. When I was little, and I would color, I would outline first and then go back in and add my color. Oh, look how beautiful. Okay, sold. I like this. So don't be afraid of watercolor pencils. And you can use them dry. You don't have to use them with water, but look at that. Just beautiful. And then you can even pick up some more of the water that is on here and just kind of move it around and manipulate it a little bit, but you're not using a whole lot of water. Oh, isn't that lovely? Okay, so big difference in using it dry and then spreading it with a watercolor brush as opposed to dipping in water and using it that way. So I will speed the video up so that you don't have to watch me continue to color this one flower. And then I will come back. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit of depth to these lavender areas that I used with the other pencil. So as you can see, I came back and I did that one that we tried out at the beginning with coloring it dry and then spreading. So I came back and made that darker. Now, let's use a black colored pencil. And it is sharp. Like I said, it is sharp from the manufacturer still. But I am going to outline this. And again, it's cut, but it's it is sharp. And so I'm just going to come along the edges and kind of outline those petals. So just a little bit of it will at least be on the outer edges of this once I take it off of the backing. Oh, look how, oh, just beautiful. Well, I am learning along with you all today because this, oh, it gives me so much more control. And because it's water activated, you could come back in and blend some of these colors with your water brush pen because it is not harsh. And oftentimes, I think that is what sort of intimidates me about watercolors is, and I don't want to get my hand in that because it is wet. The blending of the watercolor paints intimidates me. It's just the way my brain works, but so if you have an image that maybe you want to give it that pop, you can take a black watercolor pencil and outline and make it stand out. You could do this on regular copy paper. Sticker paper is just thicker. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to outline where I have the difference in the two colors here. So inside of the flower with my black. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, I'm very pleased with this. So I am going to continue coloring and then we will come back together and put this in our Bibles. But I'm going to continue on with dipping my pencil into the water because how vibrant that is. It's just gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to continue to color. Now, I did these little buds with this color dry. Now I'm going to come back with it wet and give these open ones just a little more because they're open. Okay, so I'm only going to do those two pieces. And I'm not going to come in and go around. I added some shadowing here with the darker purple, just kind of like the sunlight would be shadowing those parts, depending on where it was hitting, obviously. But I'm just going to use these two pieces in my journaling. And you will want to let these dry before you use them, before you put your hands on them and try to get them up off of the paper. Okay, so my flowers are dry, and I'm just going to use my zebra midliner to highlight my verses here. He causes the springs to gush into the valleys. They flow between the mountains. They supply water for every wild beast. The wild donkey quenches his thirst. The birds of the sky live beside the springs. They make their voices heard among the foliage. Okay, now I'm just going to take my elements and pull them off the backing. Being gentle because some are a little thin. Okay. I'm just going to, these would be very beautiful also in a Bible garden. Now I'm going to grab my tag that I did, and I did it in blue because I was just practicing. And that's okay. I like the colorful. Now, as you can see, even on my sticker paper, you can tell that it came through the other side. So you might keep that in mind if you are going to do something on your Bible page. And if that bothers you, be aware that the pigment, at least of mine, is very vibrant. So you can see that ghosting through on the other side. Okay, now I'm going to get this big, beautiful flower that we did. And remember, I did the outlining in with the black. And as you can see, it still stayed here, but I do have some that came through on the edges of my flower. And purple is my favorite color, so okay, there you go. So I hope that you have enjoyed this, and maybe you learned something about watercolor pencils. Don't be afraid of them like I was. Just dip it in water and color away like you would with a normal colored pencil. But if you did enjoy this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so that you never miss a tutorial, an unboxing, anything that Bible Journaling Ministries has to offer on YouTube. You won't miss it if you click that subscribe and the bell so that you get notifications and you can come watch all of the new additions that come to the channel. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I will see you soon. Bye.